Amira, a young orphan woman, is sweet and full of heart despite her past difficulties. She keeps a bright smile. One day, she meets Omar, a kind and honest man. He falls in love quickly. Their love is sincere, like a ray of sunshine after the rain. They decide to get married, dreaming of a simpler, happier life. On the wedding day, the village celebrates their union, though some whisper that Amira has neither family nor money. But there is a problem. Mama Zawadi, Omar's mother, doesn't like Amira. She looks at her with cold eyes, as if Amira were stealing her son. She wanted a rich, beautiful girl, not a poor orphan. Mama Zawadi speaks badly of Amira in secret, saying she isn't good enough for Omar. Amira remains patient, believing love can overcome anything. But Mama Zawadi's words prick like thorns, and this tension foreshadows dark days ahead. Mama Zawadi is a proud, hard woman. To her, family must be respected and admired by the entire village. She always wanted Omar to marry a woman who would bring honor and wealth. When he chooses Amira, a penniless orphan, she feels betrayed. She doesn't understand why Omar loves such a simple girl. Every time she sees Amira laughing with him, jealousy burns in her heart. She becomes possessive, as if Amira has stolen her son's love. From the beginning, Mama Zawadi treats Amira cruelly. She assigns her impossible tasks, washing all the laundry under the scorching sun or cleaning until exhaustion. When Amira cooks, Mama Zawadi claims the food is terrible, even when others praise it. She loudly tells neighbors Amira is worthless, unworthy of Omar. Amira endures the pain silently, lowering her eyes, hoping kindness will soften Mama Zawadi's heart. But the older woman's hatred only grows. Sometimes, Mama Zawadi pretends to offer advice, but her words are veiled insults. A real woman dresses better to honor her husband. Amira listens politely, but each remark cuts deeper. She feels alone, even with Omar beside her. The village begins to notice. Some side with Amira, moved by her gentleness. Others believe Mama Zawadi, whose influence runs deep. She spreads lies, claiming Amira hides secrets or doesn't truly love Omar. The rumors isolate Amira further. In her mind, Mama Zawadi starts seeing Amira as an enemy. She can't bear watching Omar kiss his wife or hold her hand. She fantasizes about Amira disappearing, convinced Omar would return to her. A dark plan takes root. She will rid herself of Amira, no matter the cost. One morning, Amira wakes with a radiant smile. She's pregnant. Overjoyed, she imagines a baby with Omar's eyes. When she shares the news, Omar lifts her in his arms, laughing and crying. They discuss names, Zara for a girl, Jamil for a boy, dreaming of a future bright with love. Amira hopes the pregnancy will soften Mama Zawadi. But when she shares the news, the older woman's face hardens. Good, she mutters, her eyes icy. The village celebrates, bringing gifts and blessings, except Mama Zawadi. To her, the child is a threat. If Amira becomes a mother, Omar's love will deepen, and her own influence will vanish. Alone in her room, Mama Zawadi whispers, this child must not be born. When Omar leaves for a work trip, Mama Zawadi seizes her chance. She feigns kindness, offering Amira a special tea to ease pregnancy fatigue. Amira, touched, drinks it, unaware it's poisoned. The pain begins slowly, then erupts into agony. Amira clutches her belly, begging for help. Mama Zawadi watches silently, coldly, ensuring the poison finishes its work. As Amira's vision fades, she whispers Omar's name, then goes still. Mama Zawadi cleans the evidence, staging the scene as a tragic miscarriage. When Omar returns, she delivers the lie with practiced tears. He collapses in grief, unaware of the truth. But Amira's spirit lingers. Nights fill with a baby's cries. Shadows move. Omar dreams of her pleading, it wasn't an accident. Mama Zawadi, haunted by visions, grows paranoid. One evening, Amira's ghost appears, pale, sorrowful. "Tell the truth," she demands. Mama Zawadi tries to resist, but the visions worsen. The village hears her screams. At a gathering, she finally cracks. "I killed Amira," she confesses, detailing the poison, the jealousy. The crowd recoils. Omar, shattered, turns away. Banished, Mama Zawadi lives in isolation, tormented by guilt. Amira's spirit fades, her justice served. Omar plants flowers by Amira's grave, whispering to the child they lost. The village remembers her as a lesson, cruelty echoes, but love endures. Years passed, and the village, though still touched by the tragedy, slowly began to heal. Omar, forever changed by the loss of Amira and their unborn child, devoted himself to keeping her memory alive. He transformed their small home into a sanctuary, filled with flowers and quiet reminders of the love they shared. He rarely spoke of Mama Zawadi, the pain too deep for words, but the villagers knew her name was synonymous with betrayal. Omar found solace in his work as a carpenter, shaping wood with the same care and precision he once showed Amira. He also started a small community garden in Amira's honor, encouraging others to cultivate life and beauty where tragedy had once bloomed. Children from the village would often visit, drawn to his gentle nature and the peaceful atmosphere of his home and garden. Omar, despite his sorrow, found a quiet joy in their laughter, a faint echo of the future he had dreamed of with Amira. One crisp autumn morning, a new family arrived in the village. Among them was a young woman named Lena, a talented weaver with eyes as kind as Amira's. Lena, too, carried a quiet sorrow, having lost her own family in a distant famine. She was drawn to the serenity of Omar's garden and the warmth of his presence. They often found themselves working side by side, tending to the plants, sharing stories of their pasts, and finding comfort in each other's company. The villagers, ever observant, noticed the subtle shift in Omar's demeanor. His smile, though still tinged with melancholy, began to reach his eyes. Lena, in turn, found her own quiet strength blossoming in the presence of Omar's resilience. Their shared experiences of loss created a unique bond, a silent understanding that transcended words. It wasn't a replacement for what was lost, but a new, gentle beginning. As Omar and Lena's connection deepened, some in the village wondered if Omar could ever truly open his heart again. Others, remembering Amira's forgiving nature, saw Lena as a blessing, a chance for Omar to find happiness once more. The new life blooming in the garden, and the quiet comfort between Omar and Lena, became a testament to the enduring power of hope and the slow, often painful, process of healing. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the village, Omar and Lena sat by Amira's grave. Omar, after a long silence, began to speak of Amira, not with overwhelming grief, but with a gentle fondness. Lena listened, her hand resting lightly on his arm. It was in that moment, under the fading light, that Omar felt a flicker of peace he hadn't known in years. He knew that while the past would always be a part of him, a future, however unexpected, was also gently unfolding. What do you think Omar and Lena's future holds? Omar and Lena's relationship deepened with quiet grace. There was no grand declaration, but rather a slow, tender blossoming, like the flowers in Amira's garden. Lena's presence brought a gentle warmth back into Omar's life, not erasing the sorrow of his past, but rather weaving new threads of joy and companionship into its fabric. They found comfort in shared silences, in the simple act of working side by side, and in the unspoken understanding that flowed between them. The villagers, who had watched Omar's grief with heavy hearts, now saw a renewed spark in his eyes. One spring afternoon, as the garden was in full bloom, Omar found himself looking at Lena, truly seeing her for the first time without the veil of his past sorrow. He saw her strength, her kindness, and the quiet resilience that mirrored his own. He realized that while a part of his heart would always belong to Amira, there was also room for a new kind of love, one that acknowledged his past but bravely looked to the future. Omar and Lena continued to nurture both the garden and their connection. Their home became a haven of peace, filled with the quiet hum of Lena's loom and the comforting scent of Omar's woodworking. They supported each other's passions, Lena learning the names of the plants in the garden, and Omar appreciating the intricate beauty of her woven patterns. The village, in its wisdom, understood. They saw that love, like the seasons, could change and adapt. While Amira would always be remembered, the sight of Omar and Lena, walking hand in hand through the blooming garden, offered a quiet hope. Their story became a testament not only to enduring loss, but also to the human heart's remarkable capacity for healing, for finding light after darkness, and for daring to embrace a new chapter, even when it felt like a betrayal of the past. Mama Zawadi remained in her self-imposed exile, the echoes of her confession forever replaying in her mind. The small, dilapidated hut on the outskirts of the village became her world, a stark contrast to the life of influence and respect she once commanded. The villagers, though they no longer actively sought her out, occasionally left meager offerings of food at her doorstep, a silent acknowledgement of her existence, but also a clear boundary of their condemnation. Days bled into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. The vibrant colors of the village, the laughter of children, and the comforting sounds of daily life were replaced by the rustle of leaves and the distant calls of wild birds. Her once proud demeanor crumbled under the weight of her guilt. The visions of Amira and the unborn child, once fleeting and haunting, became constant companions, tangible manifestations of her tormented conscience. She would often be heard muttering to herself, pleading for forgiveness from the empty air, her voice hoarse with despair. Physical ailments began to plague her, a reflection of the decay within. Her body weakened, mirroring the hollowness of her spirit. The once sharp eyes that had looked so coldly at Amira now held a vacant stare, clouded by regret and the relentless grip of her isolation. She became a living ghost, a stark reminder to the village of the devastating ripple effect of hatred and jealousy. Her fate was a somber lesson, whispered among generations, that while love can bloom anew, the seeds of malice can yield a bitter harvest of solitude. One cold, quiet morning, a passing shepherd noticed that the smoke no longer curled from Mama Zawadi's chimney. A few cautious villagers ventured to her hut and found her frail body, finally at peace. There was no grand funeral, no outpouring of grief. Her passing was met with a somber silence, a quiet acknowledgement of an end to a long, painful chapter. Omar, upon hearing the news, felt a complex mix of emotions. There was no joy, only a profound sadness for a life consumed by bitterness, and perhaps, a faint whisper of forgiveness for the woman who had caused him so much pain. The story of Mama Zawadi served as a stark, enduring tale in the village, a cautionary legend passed down through generations about the destructive power of envy and the ultimate triumph of compassion. While her name would forever be linked to tragedy, it also served to highlight the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring strength found in community and the slow, quiet healing power of time.